She is a financial planner and advisor.
He's the founder and president of Zinnia Wealth Management. He's also a popular radio show.
There's a way to have your money in the market and have protected growth.
This holistic approach will help people get to and through retirement.
Absolutely.
You have to change the way that you think. It's not about having these double-digit returns anymore. Things are changing, and you have to have an advisor that's keeping up with the changes.
Your outcome is going to become very desirable if you have some sort of coach helping you along the way.
And our next recipient from the Media and Communications Expo, Sharice
Rivers.
Do not have to risk all your money in the market to survive, because it's about the retirement dream.
Hey guys, Sharice here with Zinnia Wealth Management. Welcome to Retirement Coffee Talk, our Facebook Live edition that we are going to be here every Thursday at 3:30. And we're so thankful that you joined us. We had a ton of feedback last week. I received emails after the fact saying, hey, great information. Hey, let's talk about this, and that. So bring it on. We really appreciate that. You can find us at zinniawealth.com. Zinnia Wealth there, you can just submit any of your information if you have questions for ongoing events or what's going on, a Q&A, because the Facebook Live does stay posted on Facebook, just so you know, and I can go back and answer questions later. So that's a great thing. So feel free, if later you have questions, you want to come back in, go right in there, and I'll try to answer them as fast as I can. Sometimes you got to give me a couple of days. So, all right. So it's been a busy week, and I have lots to talk about. I want to start off, we're going to talk about the market report, what's going on with the market. We're going to talk about what's happening in, the Florida area, between the Villages, Ocala, Gainesville, Orlando area. And then we're going to focus on talking to you about 529 plans and some do's and don'ts, because we talked about that last week, and those are for your kids and grandkids. And then we're also going to talk about the Secure Act. And the Secure Act is really, for retirees, but the young people out there really need to understand this too, because your inheritance might not be what you think it is. Okay. So let's get started. And I have to let you know, I am here to inspire, educate, and get you to retirement and beyond. That is my primary and only goal on Facebook Live. Don't forget to tune in every Saturday and Sunday on 97.3 FM The Sky and 99.9, where you can hear a full hour of something totally different than what we're doing on Facebook, geared a little bit more towards retirees. Okay, so some stats came out today. COVID-19, we have globally 5 million cases globally. No news there. That's a pretty big number, but it's not astronomical considering all the people we have globally. And honestly, it didn't shake the market at all. So the market didn't move at all up or down because of that news. Well, I will tell you, on Monday, the market zipped, it zoomed, it went up 1,000 points. By end of trade today, it was 900 points. And the reason is there was some vaccine information possible. Anybody know who Moderna is? Pharmaceutical company. They were the first one on the scene to say, hey, we're working on a vaccine for COVID-19. And they came out with their first phase. And guess what? Everything was positive and the market went zooming. And basically, we have a long ways to go, because the first phase is, did anybody die from taking the vaccine that they're working on? And it was no. So that is a very good first start. So their stock started at $27 back in February. Now it went to 80, and it came back down a little bit. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, should I buy that Moderna stock? I don't know. It's risky. You can lose it all. Worst case, you lose some. So that's a hard one to tell. Depends on your age. The younger you are, maybe. Pharmaceutical companies are sometimes, you just don't know what's going to happen and what's going to happen with their stock. So I won't give you any advice on that just yet. Okay, jobless claims came out. Again, a little over 2 million. So we continue to have jobless claims rise. It did move the market a little bit. It brought it down some, but then it popped it right back up. So again, any type of wording, any type of noise that's negative usually brings the market down, but not all the time. We're in a different, unprecedented time, and a lot of times when I expect it to go down, it doesn't. And that's because there's a lot of hope. We're hoping for this vaccine. They're saying maybe we're going to get a little sooner than later. Again, we have a long ways to go, so don't let that market volatility and all the hype and all the excitement change the way that you are investing. Stay invested the way you're used to being invested, and also make sure you're talking to your financial advisors and asking them these questions as well, because it's really important, because if they have a plan for you and you do something on your own, you screw it up, they're not going to be happy with you because there's a plan. Now, if your advisor does not plan and they just put your money in the market and buy some stocks and sell some, that's not a plan. That's when you come to us, Zinnia Wealth Management. We create a very hefty pre-plan and after plan for you. Okay, so we're going to move on from there. Markets midday. I just got an update. Let's see, what did our markets end up doing today? Not too bad. Oh, somebody asked about Bitcoin, and then I got an email on Bitcoin. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. So there's a guy called Robert Kiyosaki. I always want to call him Kawasaki because the ninjas, those motorcycles. But he wrote a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And when I was in college, I actually read this book. I was at a conference and I saw him speaking. And that is the reason why I decided I want to become an entrepreneur. And that is why I am where I am. So I have to thank Robert for his book and his inspiration, his motivation. And recently he has a new documentary out. I think it's more like a biography, really. Well, anyways, I was co-producer of it just because I have to thank him so much for, pushing me to where I am today and just because of his fabulous book. But head news, I didn't like some of the news he had to say. So I got to pick on him a little bit. Mikey, can you put up that tweet for me that I saw? It talks about gold and silver and Bitcoin. And basically he tweeted, I'm just going to read it. He says, economy dying, Fed incompetent, next bailout, trillions in pensions, hope fading. Bought more gold, silver, Bitcoin, gold at 1,700, predicted to 3,000 in 1 year. Silver is at, it says 17, predicted to 14 in 5 years. And then he says Bitcoin right now, which is somewhere around $9,800. He's predicting in 3 years for it to be $75,000. Okay, I'm going to take you back in history really quickly. Yes, maybe he's right. Maybe we need to buy some of this. Don't make those decisions on your own. But I have to tell you this. He tells you to buy, but he doesn't tell you when to sell. And so that's where people get in trouble. We buy something because we get all the hype and, Robert makes so much sense. And then you don't sell when it's time to sell. So I'm going to give you an example. 2 years ago, Bitcoin was all the rage, right? People were buying it. I remember it was at 4,000, it went to 5,000, and it went to 6,000, and at 9,000. And clients are calling, Sharice, should I buy Bitcoin? I said, no, not unless, this is the long-term plan, unless you're going to know when to buy it. People were buying it anyways. They were figuring out a way. It went to $20,000. And guess what? Months later, it crashed and burned. It went right back to 4,000. So the people who bought it between the 5,000 mark to the 20,000 mark, a lot of them did not sell it. So if you're going to buy something like that, you also have to know when to sell it. And most people don't know when to sell it. And so just be careful with the things that you hear out there. He could be true. We don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball. The economy is dying a little bit, but it's kind of coming back. Second quarter is going to be a rough quarter, but we're all getting back out. There's good news. Restaurants are opening. Retail stores are opening 50% capacity. I'm the first one going to Macy's, by the way. And what else do we have here? Oh, gyms are opening. So people are feeling like their lives are getting a little bit better and people are tiptoeing their way out. But by midsummer, second quarter, it's going to be iffy. But we're hoping by end of year, economy is back on its feet. I'm thinking by end of next year, economy is caught up fully. And my worst prediction is 2023. So nobody has a crystal ball. I have a lot of hope, but I'm also doing a lot of math and data and looking at a lot of charts. And there's so many unknowns. So don't change your plan. Don't run out and go buy Bitcoin. If you're younger, maybe. If you're older and you're over 55 years old and you're willing to say, okay, I'm going to put 5% of my assets into Bitcoin, well, be ready to lose it too. So as long as you're good with that, and if you're smart enough to know when to sell it, then you can do that. So be careful there. But let's talk about silver and gold. I love silver and gold. Is now a good time to buy silver and gold? Yeah, possibly. Here's the deal. Most people I meet, they buy it high and then they end up selling it low. So that's the big thing. So are you leaving it for a legacy? Or are you actually going to sell it when it's time to sell it when it gets high, which is one of the hardest things to figure out, of course. So we do like a little gold in portfolios. It gives a little bit more diversity to your portfolio, but maybe a little bit But I am a big fan of, if you're going to have gold and you are going to go alone, this is what I recommend. Go to the gold dealer locally and ask them, listen, my advisor said it was okay to have 10% of my portfolio in gold. Make sure you hold your gold. You keep it in your vault at home. That is so important. Don't let another vault hold it. Have control, because if you're buying gold, you're buying it for bartering, you can't get it out of somebody's vault. So if that's the number and it's 10%, I would never do more than 10%, by the way, of total assets into gold. Go down there, ask them what the commissions are. Ask them and say, if I sell this gold back to you when it goes up, what is your commission? And so many times we've heard the story, it's 11 and 12%. So you have to make a lot of money after you pay these fees. So if it's 3 to 5% commission back, that is reasonable. So make sure you're asking those right questions. And I really wanted to bring the story up just because I know you're all thinking about it. You're seeing commercials on gold, and that's because people are buying it. It's at a high. When the markets go down, when markets go up, gold typically goes down. So it's down a little bit today. When markets go down, gold goes up. So and that's not even always necessarily true. So make sure you're working with somebody. I will be happy to talk to you about that when you're choosing gold, silver, and Bitcoin. I will tell you this, I will not be buying Bitcoin for any of my clients. Okay, I'm going to move on. Next on the front, let's talk about Trump news. There wasn't too much on the forefront. We had the trade war issue with China last week and kind of moving through that now. We haven't heard the end of that. But here's something I have to read. I'm going to read it too because I just got it. This is interesting. I kind of want to, let me just read it first. Trump said he is taking the unproven drug hydrochlorine. Wow, what is that? Hydrochlorine or whatever it is, what's in the drugs for supposedly fixing a vaccine as part of the personal fight against coronavirus. He has tested negative for the virus, and health experts have warned about the possibility and dangers of using the drug this way. Well, if anybody knows Trump, he's going to do what he wants. But he's not sick, so that's good. Hydrochloroquine. That's what it is. I had to make sure I can read that right. It's a long word. So anyways, I thought that was interesting. That's the most I could come up with Trump. That would be halfway amusing this week. I just have to nod my head at that a little bit. So let's move forward. I want to talk about what's happening in Central Florida and local areas. I think it's very, very important to talk about that. And here we go. So Governor DeSantis, he basically, we made a few changes, not a whole lot. We are still in stage 1. We haven't moved to stage 2. And that just means retail stores are opening here in Florida. Gyms are opening and restaurants are still going. So we haven't made it to the next phase. He did say this. What is this? He's making a comment about unemployment. He says the state's doing a good job with getting people their unemployment checks. And so I thought this was kind of insulting. It says people are blaming the state and the government for not getting their unemployment issues fixed. And basically he said if people who applied for unemployment benefits aren't getting them, they should, they're probably doing it wrong. I'm just like, that's kind of insulting from the governor. He must have had a bad day. So again, that's just a note. If you're applying for unemployment, something arises, just dot your I's and cross your T's. There's been a couple of times in my life where if I applied for something, something went wrong. I didn't double check it. It can't hurt to have a family member to have extra eyes on it. So make sure, because you're in this waiting period once you apply for unemployment, it could take you another month or 2 before you get it because of one small mistake. So don't prove Governor DeSantis correctly, okay? All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, Gators. Go Gators. I'm a big Gator fan, as you know. Gator alumni, and I know a lot of you on are as well. And if you're a Seminole fan or UM fan, cheers. Okay. Sounds like the colleges are going to be opening up a normal time come here in August. I have a feeling that's going to change again, but University of Florida basically says they are reopening in fall. They're just going to have a couple little tweaks and I don't know how they're going to do. There's so many people on that campus. So hopefully there's a vaccine. I just don't know how a big campus is going to do that. I watched Harvard president talk about it too. So there's going to be some creativity going on there. So if you have grandkids or kids that are going to college, sounds like they're opening up. So of course there's going to be masks and gloves and lots of details there, lots of cleaning up, but that's a positive thing. I found something, Katie Bells. Is anybody listening and watching today? ever heard of Katie Bell's? Katie Bell's is in the Villages. It is the one place that started years ago. And because of COVID-19, they are not reopening. So this is a sad day for many people. It says Original Villagers Only Club. It dates back 2 decades. So that's unfortunate. I'm very familiar with it, and I'm sad to see that. But maybe somebody will come in later and fix it up and get it up. So any of you people who are watching that goes to Katie Bell's, it's not looking too good right now. Okay, we are going, before we move on, Mikey, do I have any questions at this moment? Okay, so let's move on to, we're going to talk about the Secure Act. So the Secure Act is really, really important. It's a law that was passed 2019, and I just want to start with the basics on the Secure Act. Let me get my notes here. I have a whopping bundle of notes. Here it is. So typically, let me just start from history. If you have a 401k, a 403b, an IRA, a deferred comp, anything you ever contributed to while you were working that you had the tax write-off on, what happens one day, you have to take a withdrawal, okay? And it was 70 and a half. So it says, even if you didn't want to take money out of this IRA and pay taxes on it, the government says you have to. So the rule's always been, you have to take it at 70 and a half. So if you turn 70 and a half by 2019, you had to pull those dollars out of those IRAs and those retirement accounts. But in 2020, if you turn 70 and a half in 2020, you don't have to. You have all the way until till 72, age 72 to do so, which is a really great thing because it gives you some more planning, maybe more Roth conversions. So it's a really nice option. I tell people to take advantage of it because taxes expire in 2025. If you have 2 more years before you have to start pulling money out of those IRAs and retirement accounts when you're 72, maybe we start doing some Roth conversions while taxes are lower. So it gives retirees just a little extra time to plan. And those people who do not need it at all are happy just to say, hey, I don't have to pay Uncle Sam for a couple more years. So that's a great thing. The other thing is if you're working and you work 500 hours a year and you're working part-time, they said that you can now contribute to the 401k if you're over 70 and a half, and the company still has to match you. So before you couldn't do that. The other thing is that if you were contributing to an IRA after 70 and a half, you couldn't do that. Now you can contribute to IRAs. So they just gave a few more benefits to retirees that want to keep contributing. If you have a 401k, 401k companies now can add annuities to the 401k, but I tell people beware of those annuities inside the 401k. I haven't seen one I've really liked yet. So if it's something, a road you're going down and you're thinking about, oh, I'll get this 401k and park some of my money in the annuity, show it to us. Let me see what the stats are. Let's just make sure it's a good one because there's some not so great ones and then there's some really good ones. So remember, dot your I's, cross your T's before you make any moves, and that's what we're here for. Now, I will also tell you, here is the bad thing about the Secure Act. This is the one thing that irks me the most because I've been helping retirees get ready for retirement and plan for estate planning. Estate planning has changed forever because most retirees, most of your money is inside these retirement accounts, the IRAs, the 401ks, and that kind of stuff. If you pass away and a non-spouse inherits your money, so it could be an uncle, an aunt, a sister, a brother, a child, a grandchild, they used to be able to put that IRA or that retirement account in their name, and then they would have to take that minimum amount out every year, but they could stretch it out over their life expectancy. So if somebody inherits it and they're 45 years old and they have a really nice income from work, and now the difference is you can't stretch it for the rest of your life to the non-spouse beneficiary. You have to cash it out over 10 years. Yes, 10 years. So if you have $1 million in your 401k that went to a beneficiary, that means they either cash out that full 1 million that year, or they cash it over 10 years. You divide $1 million over 10 years, that's $100,000 a year. Now that $100,000 gets added to your beneficiary's income, and if they're making $100,000 in income, that's $200,000 that is now taxable. So now their taxes go up. So the retiree or person getting ready to retire, if you thought your inheritance was going to your beneficiaries fully, I'm going to tell you, the tax man is coming after that money, and your beneficiaries are not getting what you think they're getting. They're not getting that $1 million anymore. And so that's kind of a sad thing. And I never thought this would happen. I'm actually very disappointed in the government for doing something like this. I've always been pretty optimistic about things, but now I know they will do anything. And that's because guess why? We have trillions of dollars in debt, trillions, right? Social Security is possibly going bust. And there's not enough people working to pay for the retiree out there, which is a scary thing. There's 3 people working for 1 person retiring. That's amazing. And we have 10,000 people retiring every day for the next 9 years. Every day, 10,000. And they're going to be taking Social Security. And there's not enough in the trust fund anymore to pull interest out of it. So come next year, we'll see what happens. And be very, very careful. So back to the Secure Act. I went on a tangent there. Social Security, I think we should talk about next week, because President Trump is coming out with some benefits where they're going to give you $5,000 if you wait to take your Social Security and delay it a little bit longer. But it's a bad deal, and I'll tell you next week about it. It's scary, actually, that they are getting so desperate that they did something like that. But back to the Secure Act and your inheritance to your beneficiaries. They can no longer stretch it for their lifetime, which means minimize their taxes. And a lot of times, even your kids could stretch that money out to their kids' life. So you can stretch it generation to generation. No more can you do that. The kids have to sell off this IRA over 10 years, and you got to pay Uncle Sam. And it's perfect timing, because when boomers start to pass away, taxes are probably going to be pretty high, right? Think about that. 2025 taxes expire. If anybody's passing away, then taxes are going to go up a little bit, most likely. And over the years, it has to pay off trillions of dollars of debt. And so the government knows what they're doing, unfortunately, but there is a way around it. If it's about an inheritance to your beneficiaries, we have some loopholes. So make sure you're contacting us at Zinnia Wealth, just because if you're wanting to leave a certain amount of money, there is a way to do it. But the tax man still has to be paid, but it all works out. So we're having to readjust every single one of our clients' estate planning portfolios just for this big change last year. So if you're a client and you're watching, and this is something you want to do, and you want to make sure you leave money, and you know you have to your beneficiaries, and you know you have a lot of IRA money, make sure you call me and we talk about this, because it might be 6 months before we have our review. And I want to make sure we're addressing this sooner than later. Okay, so that's the Secure Act. One last thing, and this is going to lead me into the next educational piece. The Secure Act says, if you have a 529 plan that says if there's any money left over, you can take $10,000 of that 529 plan and pay off student loans. So I'm going to come back to this, because now we're going to go into the next piece of education I want to share with you today. And it's called the 529 plans. Let me get my specs so I don't miss anything here, because I like to move around too much. But 529 plans are created for kindergarten through 12th grade, all the way through college and master's and your doctorate. It is a 529 plan that you can save for now, and you get all this tax deferral. And when you pull money out to pay for any kind of schooling or books or colleging, that's not a word, but for college, it goes out tax-free. So that's kind of like the whole Roth. You get a Roth because all the money coming out is tax-free. Same thing. So this is because you can't give young kids a Roth because they don't have any earned income. So they can't get a Roth unless they're working. So another way around is most kids will go to some sort of MIT or some sort of college or some learning or educational place, and they can take money out of this 529 plan tax, which is a beautiful thing. But what happens, let's say you have 2 kids, one of them goes to college and one of them doesn't. So you have this 529 plan sitting here. Maybe they dabbled into college a little bit. If you're the parent and you have old school loans, or if your daughter who graduated and blew through all of her money, she still has some school loans, you can take $10,000 of that 529 plan to pay off those loans. So that's brand new. I love the idea, but here's the deal. If there's more money left in the 529 plan, you can gift it to grandkids so they have it for a 529 plan or another family member. But if you have nobody, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to cash it out. There's going to be penalties and there's going to be taxes. So, we're not going to throw away your money, but some things to think about. And so when you're picking those 529 plans, I would choose how much money you want to put in there, because you can really put a lot of money in these 529 plans, and grandma can contribute, uncles can contribute. And so there's some rules to that. And let me pull them up here. Okay, it says when deciding a 529 plan, you can do it. I'm trying to figure out our max up to 15,000 to 30,000 joint. Okay, so there's some gifting rules in there. You can really dump in a lot of money into a 529 plan. I had a client dump in $40,000 last year to a 529 plan. That $40,000 is for a 5-year-old right now. And when that 5-year-old goes to college, that $40,000 is going to grow. It's going to be in the market. It's going to grow tax-free. And you can put it in any kind of investment. You put it in mutual funds. You put it in stocks. But just remember, the closer you get to that beneficiary's age to graduating, you want to make it more conservative. So you definitely want a financial advisor to work with on when to do, what to buy, what not to buy. And you might just buy a simple target retirement date fund also as part of the plan. So again, different rhymes and reasons to start investing for your kids and grandkids. And a lot of them will go to college. And you can even have, if they're grandkids and they're 10 and 12, they're smart enough, you know, they can help you pick out stocks and mutual funds and that kind of thing for the 529 plan. The next thing is that there's 529 plans in every state. Some states, very few, but there's some states that give you a little, the person contributing to the 529 plan gets a little bit of a tax write-off, but very few states. If you're in Florida, forget it. I will say that it doesn't really matter. I've looked them up and down and all around. I've looked at Schwab, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade. I've looked at big brokers and big banks. I've looked in every state. It's not really a big deal where you buy your 529 plan. Like, for example, my 529 plan is Fidelity, and I bought some funds for it for my kids. Now, could I buy a 529 plan in New York? I sure could. I don't know why I would. Some people say some 529 plans have lower fees than others, which is the case. So I always say shop the market. There's, 50 of them out there. There's a couple of 529 plans where I've seen a fee of 0.5%. I've seen some one in other states where there's 0.25%. I've seen some 529 plans that are charging you 1%. So you want to shop fees. So that is the only reason to start shopping from state and from custodian to custodian. So do know that. And then when they graduate, they can use it for books, room and board, classes, anything like that until it's all ran out. So, but if you go use it for the doctors or for a couch for the dorm or for, anything, is not going to count. And now it's taxed and is penalized. So make sure it's being used for the right stuff. Mikey, is there any questions about 529 plans? Because I know there's so much out there. Okay. Not so many questions on 529 plans. Well, that's okay. Now, if you're on and you're a grandparent, here's the other thing. Some people want to know, well, I don't think my grandchild's going to go to college, honestly. So I don't want to do a 529 plan. So what else can we do? And so there's other accounts that you can set up that you can buy stocks with them. So I tell grandparents all the time, get your grandkids involved with you. Sit down with them and say, hey, I'm going to contribute $500 a year to this or $1,000 a year to this. But I want you to pick 3 of the most favorite things that you like out there, and we're going to buy stocks. And I think I said this in our very first Facebook Live show. It just gets them involved. It gets them thinking about finances and investing. And it's highly recommended. And nobody's ever told me that it was a bad idea. Okay. And actually, one client a couple of years ago, their son said, the grandson said, hey, I want to buy Dr. Pepper. I went, Dr. Pepper? Now, that's just a different one because I would never think to buy Dr. Pepper, but he loved Dr. Pepper. It's all this kid ever wanted. Well, Dr. Pepper went up 10 times the amount. And we found out because a big chunk of cash was sitting in there. I was like, why does he have so much money in this fund? And we found out that it just did this incredible split. And I said, if I would have known that, I would have kind of been a billionaire if we all would have known that. So the kids just have this way of picking stocks, and it's really exciting for them. And then they can cash it out later if they want. There's always little taxes on those types of accounts, but it gets them involved for later on. So investing wisely, whether it's an IRA, 401k, a Roth IRA, 529 for your grandkids, or just a regular stock account for your grandkids that you just want them to get involved and show them the path to saving for retirement, because a lot of the parents today we're working a lot, and sometimes we just don't spend enough time on that. So I'm leaving it to the grandparents to do something like that. Okay, so I'm going to move on here. let's just see. Let's do something funny. Before I do something funny, I read something. It said, is the handshake gone? Because a lot of people aren't shaking hands anymore. They're doing elbows and knees and hip kind of movements. And the interesting thing is they're saying that our millennials and younger people won't even know what a handshake is in the future. And it's unfortunate. So again, I really lean to our baby boomers out there and the parents out there watching. You know, my father taught me how to do a handshake when I was like 10 years old. And that was always just weird to me. And he says, honey, when you shake a hand, mean it. And he's like, and so he told me how to squeeze a hand. I squeeze it hard. You look people in the eyes. And so, you know, that's so important when you're doing deals across a conference table with a client, or, you know, you're having some sort of conversation. It's really important. So let's make sure we're teaching the young people out there that it's important to do that. Even though it's scary through COVID-19, you know, let's not forget that that's always going to be on the table, and just kind of reassure them that, you know, COVID-19 won't be here forever, right? And so let's keep that in play. All right, so our first interesting picture today, it's going to be about, you know what, let's do the FedEx. There was an interesting thing here. I don't know how he does it, but this went viral this week, and a FedEx driver dropped a box off at somebody's house, and the guy at the house, I guess they tempted each other to do a push-up war. And the FedEx guy has his box on his head. In the box is I think, not a grill, but it's some sort of thing. Yeah, fire pit. And he's doing push-ups. I don't know how in the world this guy did this. He must have practiced this. I wonder if he's doing this with other people. But I don't know. Mikey, is a picture up? Oh, it's a video. Okay, so we're going to just watch the video just because I thought it was cute. So much fun. All right. So I'm going to try that this weekend with my kids. I'm going to start with a small box. And I can do push-ups, but I'm curious because that looks like a balancing act. Anybody else out there do that? If not. Oh, Amy Ortiz took this video. Okay, very nice. Thank you. And so I thought it was interesting how to share that for you. Okay, there's something totally crazy out there, and it totally weirded me out. And it's a restaurant. Let me just read it. It says, I'm seating mannequins at tables in restaurants. So basically it's saying they're putting mannequins in clothes. Mikey, go ahead and put that picture up where they're sitting at a table to make the restaurant feel full. I'm not sure, but that would scare the bejesus out of me if I walked into a restaurant and we're doing the 6-foot rule, but they put some mannequins that are already stationed there. I don't know about this one, guys. Comment. I would love to know. Would anybody else want to eat at a restaurant like this? I don't know. Maybe it's fun. Maybe it's fun. I don't know. Maybe not. Also, if anybody does the FedEx box and does push-ups with the box on her head, take a picture and post it on the Zenio Wealth Management Facebook page. I would love to see this. I think, and I want to know how many you did with that box on your head. So that would be fun to follow up on that. Okay, and one last thing here for funny stories. There was a restaurant, and they created something called bumper tables. Bumper tables. So when I had to Google it when I heard about it, they basically said for social distancing, they have these bumper tables you can eat off of and be very close to your neighbors while you're doing it. You can see it's by water. Mikey, is a picture up? A little weird, but interesting. Maybe that's where their way of mocking the whole social distancing. But yeah, I guess people are drinking and eating, and it's good to go because they can walk around and it be socially acceptable with the social distancing. So interesting enough, I you know me, I have these weird things I like to show. And you know, I like to show somebody doing something really good that sticks out. I found something here. Where is he at? Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson did something really cool that I think needs to be acknowledged. He donated $100 million to minorities and single women who own businesses through this COVID-19. And I'm just thinking, wow, somebody to donate 100 million. And we're starting to see a lot of people be generous like that. So kudos to Magic Johnson. You know, he's done a really great job over the years, and he's very giving, and he's done well, because if you're donating that kind of money, I'm assuming you have done pretty well. And we know that for a fact. And so, yeah, I like to always talk about giving and going out to these restaurants and make sure you're tipping. You know, I went out to a restaurant and I double what I normally tip in one, and I actually did 3 times the amount, just because they're working hard. They're trying to keep these restaurants open. Go out to the stores and start shopping. Let's get these retail stores moving now that they're open 50% capacity. You know, I need some new towels. I'm gonna go to Macy's and go get some towels. You know, Best Buy. I just love Best Buy. That place is a technology addiction. But, you know, go out and start shopping a little bit. You know, we're receiving money from the government, and, you know, they're hoping you put it back into the economy. The second quarter won't be as bad if we start funneling money out. And we're starting to see airlines. Before there was 1 or 2 people on airlines. Now we're seeing them a fourth full. So that's positive. We're seeing some airlines totally full, and that's probably just because they're narrowing down how many planes are out there. But, you know, driving around, we need to get the gas economy moving. And so if we all put our time into it and help others, and especially help others who don't have jobs, that have kids, you know, give them a couple of bucks, you know, put an envelope with $20, send it to them. Just, this is a time to be charitable, to think about others before yourself. And I've been doing that a lot lately. And if I could save the world, I would. I read something about kids, you know, parents not eating to make sure their kids have food. I don't know how I don't just break, or I did. It makes me want to cry. So when it comes to kids who can't eat, or they're just getting enough food and the parent can't eat, I know this personally because I was in a situation like this when I was young with my single father and siblings. So I just have this love to help as many people as I can, especially people who, you know, aren't eating. And just, you know, to put a shout out, the Tim Tebow Foundation, if you go to my ZinniaWealth.com website, the Tim Tebow Foundation they're across the world, and they're looking for food donations, looking for money to go feed the hungry. So if you're looking for a place to donate, go right to the Tim Tebow Foundation on my website. That's under the charity section, the nonprofit stuff, and click on there. If you want to give them $20, give them $20. They can use everything that anybody's willing to give right now, and it goes to feeding the hungry right now. So, and I can vouch for that charity. They're fantastic. I'm actually partnering with them this year, so we're trying to really help get funds to them. I have my own 501c3, and we're not even worried about 9. We want to help others this year and just get the stuff out. Okay, the last segment today is our Q&A. If you have any last questions, anything that you want me to talk about next week, anything you're thinking about that we've already talked about, if it's a question that I didn't even talk about today that might be on your mind, because I know a lot of people are wondering, should I go get a mortgage, or should I keep contributing to my 401k if the company's not matching anymore, or I'm unemployed, what do I do with my 401k? Do I move it to somebody locally? So if you have those kind of questions, they might pop up later. You can always come back to Facebook Live later and ask a question, and I'll be able to answer them as well. Mikey, are there any questions today? No, nothing yet. We're watching it. And so nothing yet. So we talked about it last week, and we have our Google alerts out. So I haven't seen anything yet. So when we do, you know, we'll put it up there, because people want to know what's being taxed, what's not. You know, we're getting all this funding, you know, how's it being paid back? But certainly if it doesn't get paid back in taxes now, we know later it will come back to haunt us, but they're helping us now. But somebody's got to pay the piper later. And you can count on that in 2025 when taxes expire. Okay, either I did a really bad job today, or it's really boring, or I did such an excellent job, nobody has questions. So I'm not going to take it personal. Any questions about Motley Fool investments and cannabis investments? Oh, I have so much to say. So Motley Fool, I like them. They give out some really good information, but sometimes the information they give, I'm just like, yeah, no. So it depends what the information is. If you ever have a question about what they're offering or what they're recommending, because they'll talk about retirement and they'll miss a couple of steps that you need to know about it, or they'll talk about a stock. And yeah, Motley Fool's picked some really good stocks in the past. They've also picked some stocks that weren't so good. It's just like anything else, but they're really on top of it. I do like Motley Fool. And the question was cannabis. Okay, that's a great question. Cannabis is an interesting story. So it was huge. People started buying into it a couple of years ago with all this stuff that was passing with Canada and coming into the United States. And here's the deal with cannabis. It is low. It is people lost their shorts off cannabis if they did not sell. Remember, we talked about selling, when to know when to sell things. And I whether you like it or don't like it, it's there. Here's the problem: is cannabis is having a hard time right now because we're having issues in the different states in the United States. And right now, these cannabis companies can't write off anything because it's not federally legal. So I think it's gonna be a while before we see cannabis skyrocket. I know somebody out there probably watched cannabis Aora stock. It was down and it jumped up, I think 38% today. And so if you're going to buy cannabis, you need to hold it for the long haul. It is here to stay. I am certain of that. But we won't see a big boom until we get the feds to approve it, so that these cannabis companies can now use it as a write-off. So they can't write anything off right now. They're making plenty of money, but it's kind of slowing things down. It could be 5 years we see a big boom and the federal government get involved. It could be 10 years. It could be 3 years. Who really knows? So be careful how much you buy. And there are some good companies out there. I will tell you this. There's a new thing. It's not a new thing. There's big companies who are partnering with these cannabis companies. And I really like that. So look at Canopy Growth Stock. They teamed up with Constellation Brands. And so big, great company. They're going to be around here forever, I hope. I would say forever, but I just can't see them going away. But they teamed up. So in the short run, Constellation Brands, they're thinking, okay, we're going to buy into Canopy Growth and we're going to be part ownership of Canopy Growth because we know, well, at least in 10 years, we're going to make some serious bucks. But for the next 10 years, this Constellation brand, they're going to fund keeping those Canopy stocks afloat. So it's a really great partnership. We just don't know how long it's going to take to get things approved and passed. But I honestly don't think it's a bad investment, and nobody judge me because of that. It's helping a lot of people who have ailments and sicknesses and, epilepsy and those kind of things, that the kids don't have to go on drugs anymore and hurt their bodies that way. And I am a fan. So it can't be a terrible time. They could go down further, but they could slowly start going up. And so whatever you do, just hold it and make sure it's a good company and they're teamed up with another good company. So worst case scenario, they'll just stay flat until things boom. So cannabis stock, it's an interesting conversation. And a lot of people would probably tell you, hold off. Let's wait till we see some ups in Canopy Growth. And personally, I think that there's other stocks you could be buying right now that's going to make a lot more money in the next 3 to 4 years than cannabis stock. So I would save cannabis stock if you're short on funds for later, once we start to see some movement, because there's a lot of stocks out that right now that are undervalued, and I would start buying those up. So let's be smart how we invest in cannabis stock and when we buy into them. So that's the other stipulation I do have to put out there. I thank you guys. If there's another question, I'll answer in just a second, but I won't put a disclosure out there. I don't work for Medicare, Social Security, any of these big federal companies. I'm not an accountant or a lawyer. And so I'm just giving you enough information to kind of get your whistle wet. And we can't really customize any of this information over Facebook Live. Talking to me personally or anybody in our office will help us figure out what your situation needs, because one person can come in and I say, yeah, cannabis stock. Another person come in and I'm like, no way, Jose. So just remember that. And remember, we're here every Thursday at 3:30. Go to Zinnia Wealth Management. We have a little red books for retirement. You can go on there and download that. It's absolutely free. It's 37 pages. But since we talked about the Secure Act, if anybody wants any more information about that, I have a Secure Act guide on the website at zinniawealth.com that you can download for free. It will really give you a lot of details that I just can't go over on Facebook Live. So before we're over and out, Mikey, any more questions? Possibly. So I would love to see a tax return so I can see how much it would cost you. And I'm a big fan of it if it's with an old employer and it doesn't, it's not a huge account. And if it is a big account, we can roll over small amounts each year until taxes expire in 2025. So I'm highly recommending it. But then again, I have to I need to know your situation. So you just need to call in the office, schedule a conference call with me, and then I can say yay or nay, or hey, or here's a better plan, or here's a better way. Teladoc, the stock or sites? Okay, so Teladoc is huge. I advised some clients not to sell it last year. I said, just give it time, because I'm one of the people who use Teladoc. I love it. I trust it. It's amazing. It's efficient. You get things done fast. I don't have to drive into a doctor. So there's a Teladoc. If you bought it last year, the stock, you're killing it right now, because the Teladoc stock has this blasted through the roof. And so I'm really excited about that stock, but it's really high right now. And honestly, I don't know if it's going to go low or if it can continue to go high, but I will say this. I think our world is changing. I think that doctors are starting to like the Teladoc stock. They can see more people. It's more efficient. They can get more done. And I think that stock is going to keep going. I really do. So I'm a big fan of Teladoc. Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, I'm here to inspire, educate, get you to retirement and beyond. And reach out to us via the website. Download those free guides. And if you have any questions or you need to sit down with me, any questions, if you're a client, make sure just email me, go to the website, call us. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you here next week.
She is a financial planner and advisor.
She's the founder and president of Zinnia Wealth Management. She's also a popular radio host.
There's a way to have your money in the market and have protected growth.
This holistic approach will help people get to and through retirement.
Absolutely.
You have to change the way that you think. It's not about having these double-digit returns anymore. Things are changing, and you have to have an advisor that's keeping up with the changes.
Your outcome is going to become very desirable if you have some sort of coach helping you along the way.
And our next recipient from the Media and Communications Expo, Cherise
Cherise Rivers.
Do not have to risk all your money in the market to survive, because it's about the retirement dream.